Hello everyone, welcome back to the BiG Scuba podcast. My name is Ian. I am one of the co-hosts of this podcast, and with me is...
Hello, my name is Gemma, and I am the other co-host.
Yes, so welcome back, and straight from the top, let me tell you, these episodes are sponsored by the lovely people at 90. They are beyond technical.
Yes, so look not at 90 Up for all your diving equipment needs, technical rebreathers. They are the people to go to, and their customer service is top.
They certainly are, and we are very happy to have them with us as always. Now, this is the second episode of this year. Our previous episode, if you look back, we did a review of what we've been up to in 2024. So, we did that. Have a listen to that if you haven't done already. If you're wondering what these episodes are all about, we talk to divers, we talk to explorers. You'll often find us underwater or above the water because we also do paddle boarding as well. And we're trying to bridge the two about what we get up to. And sometimes we've got my daughter with me, Scuba Honey. And we get people on to talk about diving and things like that. So if you're a diver or you're thinking about starting to dive, then you're listening to the right place.
Yes, yeah, and even if you're a non-diver, there are lots of episodes, 194 episodes in the back catalogue, where we speak to people from all around the world that have a connection to the watery world, whether it be diving or being an artist, a film producer, photographer. So much variety out there.
Yeah, from Bungie, we're trying to capture the whole world. We're in how many countries now?
154 countries, and officially there are 195 countries in the world. So
we're 3/4 of the way through.
Yeah,
and we're just trying to, we're trying to capture the whole world. So we're marching on.
Yes, yeah, we're on a mission to put that list together of the countries we're not downloaded in.
Yeah, exactly.
See whether we can get a tick in the box. So but if you're tuning in, thank you for downloading, and do recommend us to your friends.
Yeah. So we've got some guests. We like to get a guest on our episodes, and this is no exception. We have guests, and they are from an insurance company of all people. Now, why have we got an insurance company? Do we need insurance? We're divers. What's diving got to do with insurance?
We certainly need some insurance, and in particular, life insurance, critical illness cover, income protection, and sports financial services are the people to help you.
Yes, they are. So, when did you last check your insurance? It's an important question because, we dive and we love diving, and that's a generic we, and we, every time we get in the water, it is a controlled risk, isn't it? We remember our training. We're not meant to be underwater, and but we do, and we breathe underwater, and we take risks. Some people go deeper than others, and that's great. And but all these things all have a risk to it, and we take on policies, and we through life we might take a mortgage out, and we buy a house and buy cars and jobs and all this sort of stuff, and and then maybe we get into diving a bit later on in life, if we haven't started it earlier. And one of the things we thought about is that, well, when did you last check? Because a lot of these policies that you have to cover your mortgages and things like that don't cover.
No, they're a generic thing. And if you say that you're a scuba diver, you might not be covered. Or if you had an accident while you were diving, then there might not be any payout. And then that leaves your family in a pickle.
Yeah. So and we want you as a listener, we want our listeners and followers to make sure they're covered. And, so we're highlighting this, as a point. It's the start of the year. It's a good time to look and go, hey, let's get the files out. Let's get the old paperwork out that, might be, I don't know, in a cupboard, in a file somewhere underneath the stairs. Pull them all out, have a look, and just make sure, in the small print, when you go diving, whether it be Stony Cove, whether it be off, in some lovely place in the warm waters or whatever, no matter where you are, but before you jump in, are you covered?
Yes, and equally so, if you have life insurance at all. You might not. And if your circumstances have changed, like you've got commitments, you've got a mortgage, you've got a family, then you need to think about what will happen to your house and your family should the worst happen. So it's definitely a question to ask, and definitely make sure you're fully covered.
Yeah, and it's questions that we ourselves as divers have had to, check ourselves, and so we got these guys on, and we're going to have a chat with them. And we went to their office in Manchester. So, we had a chat with them on site and to hear about what they do and what they offer. And they offer policies that don't just cover divers, but, us as divers, we do other stuff. Some of us, we rock climb, paraglide, all these fun enough things. So they offer policies that cover all these things.
Yes, it's sort of like dangerous, risky activities, and they originated from being associated with mountaineering and climbing, just to make sure there was cover in place. And they cover anybody that is UK based or has a UK based connection. So it's definitely a good listen.
All the way through from non-divers to new divers to divers who are now doing really deep stuff on rebreathers, going down into deep 100-meter plus caves, 100-meter plus wrecks. So everyone's covered. Well, potentially you need to check. You need to look.
Yeah. So there'll be links to their website and their telephone number. And another huge point is it's no online form filling. It's talking to people that are real specialists and can put things bespoke to your needs.
Excellent. So, should we get them on?
Yes. Yeah. So this is our conversation with Sports Financial Services, Harvey and James.
Just before we head over to Harvey and James, just a note to say this was recorded on site in quite a large room, so there is an element of background noise.
Welcome to the BiG Scuba podcast. This is episode 195, and we're here at Sports Financial Services with Harvey and James. So first of all, would you like to introduce yourself to our guests, Harvey?
Right. I'm Harvey. I helped set up Sports Financial Services about 15 years ago. We knew there was a need originally dealing with climbers, helping them get life insurance because they found problems, insurance companies understanding the risk and getting insured, and that spread out to scuba divers, parachutists, people in dangerous occupations. So, and I work in I've got a wealth management business as well, but sports financial has been a real passion for me, and something that I feel we help a lot of people get life insurance, critical illness, and income protection policies.
My name's James. I run the key day-to-day dealings of Sports Financial Services. So my roles partake such as dealing with sales teams, marketing, but more fundamentally for the relevance of water is ensuring that scuba divers get the best possible available terms to them by working with insurers directly to make it a fairer market share for everybody else.
Yeah. And who knew scuba divers needed insurance? Who knew? There we go.
Yeah, so for our listeners, can you explain a little bit more about what scuba divers should be coming to you for? Everybody has an awareness of life insurance, but really, can you direct it to the scuba diver?
I think where we've helped people is because people think they don't always get life insurance when they do need it, but if they've got a family, they've got a mortgage, they've got responsibilities, they need to protect their income if they can't work, and we're able to provide life insurance that's probably a lot of times at normal standard terms for them, with understanding the risks that they do and what's involved, and we believe the leaders in the UK in helping obtain the best life insurance, critical illness and income protection policies for divers.
Yeah. First and foremost, everybody values safety. Everyone wants to speak and deal with an expert, or we should hope they want to. But the question we would ask to any scuba diver out there is, obviously they value the safety of the sport, they take it seriously, they all have qualified and they take time in doing that. So they will put time into being qualified and making sure that they're safe while they're out doing their activity. And that's key to them, but they wouldn't essentially value it in the same way. Where I'm trying to go with that is, say for instance, if somebody goes out diving, someone can technically buy all the equipment and they could go and dive by themselves, but they wouldn't do that because they don't deem that as safe. And the one thing that we try to stress to our clients is, we want to ensure that everybody who is taking these risks is covered for them appropriately. And that doesn't effectively mean by you diving, meaning you have to pay more. It just means you spoke to the right people. And we ensure that all of our clients have the best advice and have the most valued advice for their time. And we want to ensure that we personalise and tailor things to them directly.
Yeah, so we write in saying there are scuba divers out there that have got life insurance, but there may be exclusions that they don't really realise or
don't know, don't understand, or potentially didn't declare. So, you know, we can only deal with the people that come to us or search for us. We rank very well for it, so we're quite easy to find, but not everybody thinks to put it in. And our word is we're trying to spread, you know, awareness to scuba divers that you don't always have to pay more, but value your cover and you know, have the appropriate thing in place.
It's a valid point, because like for people who have got mortgages, family, and you think, well, you know, you've bought an insurance policy off the shelf, and back you might have had that 10 years and you didn't dive then. You didn't think about diving 10 years ago. Now you're diving and you've still got that policy, but actually you're thinking, well, hold on, it was an off-the-shelf policy. It had no dangerous sports cover. So would I be covered if I have an accident? Or if something happens to me, would my family be covered? Would my mortgage be covered? And the chances are, probably not, because it was an off-the-shelf policy and I wasn't a diver then. So now's a good time to look back and speak to you guys, really.
A funny question that we always get is, we always get calls up and a scuba diver will call us and they say, can you insure my equipment? And we get that, honestly, we get it all the time. And then we'll have a conversation with them and then we'll say, oh, do you have life insurance? Oh, no, I don't have life insurance. And it's funny, really, because people will pay to protect their equipment, but they won't pay to protect their assets or their family. But to us, it's great because we've got the opportunity to spread the awareness to that client on the phone. But everyone's very quick to insure their equipment opposed to insuring their life.
But it might be that they think they've got cover, but actually, if they look through the exclusions and the small print, probably they haven't got cover because it says in there, you know, it won't be covered.
And worst case scenario, if something happens to them, then their family is basically left with nothing.
Exactly.
And a lot of people getting life insurance, they're just doing, you know, low risk occupations and no sports. Well, people taking part in sport, there is a higher level of risk involved, and there's a better chance of something happening to them. So they do need to take on that responsibility of having a discussion with people like yourselves to assess, you know, what the cover they need. You know, have they got family? Have they got mortgages to pay off if something happens? And, you know, it's just, you know, the responsible thing to do is to seek advice on things like that, really. So, you know, they should do.
And it's important to emphasise every bit of advice you offer people is literally word to word. Nothing is online. It's very bespoke.
Very bespoke. Each person does things to different extents. Whether we have someone who snorkels, whether we have someone that dives to 120 metres, there's no difference. Everyone will have the same conversation but be guided in different ways, very much dependent on what they are doing, and it's to be tailored to them.
So the people out there who are on rebreathers, who are regularly tech diving, there's cover for them as well.
Of course, there's cover for absolutely everybody. There's nobody in the scuba diving world that we can't cover. I'm confident in saying that.
That's good. That's really good. So let's go back a little bit. Let's talk about your backgrounds and history. Do you have any? What's your connection to the water?
I'm a keen sailor.
Yeah, nice.
Qualified. I've got a sailing boat, and I do dive as well.
Brilliant.
And I spend a lot of time around Anglesey, which is very tidal, as you probably know.
Yeah, divers out that way as well.
Yeah, that's good. And I'm hopefully going to do a lot more diving in the future, but I'm very much like the water.
Yeah, brilliant. And what about yourself?
So me, not essentially. I know a lot about the sport.
Yeah.
I'm not quite dived into it that deep. But yeah, I'm very fond of water.
An armchair expert.
Yeah. So yeah. Very much enjoy the water, whether it's snorkeling, paddleboarding, swimming.
Yeah.
Nothing better than clear water for me.
No, that's fair.
So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's good. And it must be kind of quite inspirational talking to some of these scuba divers,
of course,
isn't it?
yeah. Some of them say where they're going or what they're doing, or they even send pictures. Like I have clients that go above and above, and I share an interest with them. And I'll be sending pictures, or they'll call me after a holiday. I'm like, oh, I did this, it's amazing, you should do it. I get all these recommendations, but yet to do it.
Yeah, that's good. And with scuba divers, obviously we progress and we go further into the sport. So if a scuba diver has got life insurance and then thinks, I'm going to go and do tech diving, or I'm going to go on a rebreather, that's again another point in time where they really should be speaking to you. So
exactly. So we're not just a whole of market insurance broker or a financial advising firm, and the key thing for us is to ensure that all of our clients are up to date. We review them annually, every couple of years, 1 to 2 years, depending on their circumstances. As everybody knows, you pay for peace of mind, and the second you start paying for it and it becomes a routine, you kind of forget about it.
Yeah.
But it's our job to, stay as up to date we can with clients, with regular emails, phone calls, just to make sure that, if their circumstances do change, that we're staying up to date with them, their cover is still appropriate for them, and they are protected.
This episode is brought to you by Narked at 90, the cutting-edge pioneers in the world of diving equipment. Meet the founders, John Routley and Brent Hudson, who have logged thousands of mixed gas dives over the past 3 decades. About 20 years ago, these experienced technical divers combined their passion for diving and engineering skills to create Narked at 90. Whether you're new to diving and ready to take it up a notch, have a fair amount of experience, or are considering a transition into technical diving, we highly recommend Narked at 90. They're ready to advise on the best equipment and setup for your personal and commercial needs. Narked at 90 also has extensive hands-on experience with shearwater and ratio dive computers, being the longest-serving UK service centre for these brands. They're ready to offer technical support, servicing, repairs and upgrades for all shearwater and ratio computers past and present. In addition to shearwater and ratio, Narked at 90 stocks and supports many other brands, such as DiveSoft, JJCCR, Hollis, Revo and Kiss rebreathers. The diving community is always enthusiastic about Narked at 90, and it's easy to see why. Here are just a few reasons. Full head servicing for rebreathers from various manufacturers, bespoke cable assemblies, advice on specific fitting requirements, suggestions and guidance for home builds, computer laser cutting and engraving, CNC milling and turning, pressure testing to simulate 400-metre dives. We're thrilled to partner with Narked at 90, a company that has ignited so much passion for diving and has been incredibly supportive and innovative in producing and selling dive equipment. Visit narkedat90.com to see why they're a renowned name in diving. Stay updated on their insights and offers by following them on social media. Just search for Narked at 90 on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram and hit that follow button.
Yeah, peace of mind really. We want our clients to think they can just pick the phone up and just say, I'm doing this or going there, or is that okay? They may even be doing a different sport, or their occupation may change. We talked about tree surgeons or rope access, so something that might be a bit more dangerous. A lot of them may be, working at sea as well. So that's an area that they may struggle, getting life insurance. So all these things we were just there at the end of the phone that we can give them peace of mind and we can have that chat.
So you cover commercial saturation divers?
Yeah, we talk with all them, or a lot of people who work on ships, or a lot of people who work on super yachts as well, and who might be involved with diving on that, so there's all these type of industries that cross over really with people who may dive as well, really. So
So what about people who are resident here but work abroad in the diving industry?
You're the technical one.
As long as somebody has a tie to the UK.
So UK passport?
Yeah, well, no, whether it's like residence, mortgage, assets, businesses.
Bank accounts.
Yeah.
Bank accounts. So it's well worth somebody giving us a call, because if you can get a UK-based life insurance policy, it's generally better than an international one-on-one outside of the UK. But there is certain criteria they need to meet. But people should give us a call and have that chat with us, really.
Have that first conversation just to see if they tick the boxes. Yeah.
Our advice is free, so don't be afraid. Ask the question. We're here to help.
Yeah, it's quite a rare thing these days, talking to real people, and it's free.
This is where it sets you apart from the bigger the big, like the Norwich Unions out there, I'm trying to say, who only just do off-the-shelf policies, where you guys can actually listen to the customer and give advice over the phone, and because most of the Norwich Union won't give advice. You give advice on the policy, and as a diver, you get a policy that's actually tailored for you. And also I think as you progress in the diving sport, you sometimes might be not everybody sets out to be a tech diver. But after a couple of years of diving, and they might have had a policy with you, suddenly they go, oh, actually, I want to get into tech diving. And insurance might not be the first thing that they're thinking of. So it's good that you do these reviews, because then you can say, well, actually, are you still recreational, or are you actually taking it further? And change that policy accordingly.
Whether you're preparing for a local club dive, looking forward to a warm water dive overseas, or excited about the prospect of exploring a new wreck, life is full of adventures and challenges.
But what if life's unexpected moments catch up with you?
Good point. Are you and your loved ones prepared for the unexpected?
This is where Sports Financial Services can help.
Sports Financial Services are your specialists for scuba diving life insurance, income protection and critical illness cover.
With cover from them, you can protect your family's future whilst pursuing your passion for diving with financial peace of mind.
Their tailored plans can help ensure you and your loved ones are financially protected should an accident happen.
Their flexible policies can adapt to your unique lifestyle, so you can focus on the things you love most.
So speak to one of their scuba diving specialists today and join with other individual and club divers who trust Sports Financial Services with their life insurance, income protection and critical illness cover needs.
Visit them at www.sports-fs.co.uk or call 0345 565 0935 to find the perfect plan for you, your scuba diving activities and your family.
Even if you have an existing policy in place, they will be happy to provide a free review to show how their cover compares.
Sports Financial Services, providing financial peace of mind, one diving adventure at a time.
Woo.
And we've spoken about, obviously, life insurance, but you do critical illness cover as well, for scuba divers.
So we do critical illness cover, so that one's slightly different. That's in a sense like a life insurance. It pays out once, or you can claim part depending on what kind of condition you've got. That is condition dependent. We also then have an income protection product, so that's something that gives you regular income Should you not be working and you've received your benefit of sick pay, if you do qualify for that, a lot of our clients are self-employed. So, if we don't go to work, we don't get paid. So the key thing there is protecting income. And
that covers you for your job as well as
your occupation.
For your occupation as well. If you're unable to proceed with your occupation, you'll be covered for that. Yeah.
And they also come with good benefits such as waiver of premium. So that basically means, should you not be working and you'd be receiving a benefit, one, that's tax-free, and two, you don't have to pay for your policy whilst claiming on it, as long as you add the waiver of premium benefit in there.
And one of the areas we don't do is we don't do travel. We don't do travel insurance. We don't do insuring people's equipment.
Or public liability.
We don't do public liability as well. So, but we have ties with Dive Master. Dive Master we work with, and that's their specialist niche area, and they don't do life insurance and critical illness, and they refer people to us. And as I say, we aren't general. That's the Dive Master.
So for people who run a dive centre, you would recommend they go speak to Dive Master.
That's it, yeah. For the general PI insurance policy.
Yeah.
One thing, one thing that we do is a relevant life policy. So the benefits of having a relevant life policy is a policy paid through a limited company. You can be a director or you can be an employee.
Right.
And what effectively you can do is you can take out a personal policy in benefit of your family or into a trust for life insurance. But you can also offset that cost against your corporation tax, and you're not paying income tax on that.
Okay.
So depending on kind of what rate taxpayer you are, if you're a higher rate taxpayer, you could be saving up to 55% on your premiums.
That's amazing, and that's something unique to sports financial rather than.
So that's a whole of market product. However, we can tie it to your sport. So whether you're a scuba diver, a climber, someone who does hazardous sports, occupations, anything. And even if you're just a listener of the podcast and you have the general insurance, you're interested in sports and activities, we can cover anybody.
And this product's probably only been around 7-8 years. So people may have existing policies and are directors of limited companies, and they should look at having, is looking at reviewing that policy and seeing if they can have that policy but paid through the business. And that's a big area of where we're able to help clients, where they basically end up having the same premium, but with the tax relief, it's a big saving for them.
Yeah.
So they sometimes actually get more cover and have the same for the same cost, really. So people should, if they've got a limited company, they should definitely contact us and have a chat with us, because I think we'll be able to do.
Well, you look at somewhere like Stony Cove, Vobster on a Saturday morning, and the amount of vans and pickups and people, mostly run a business, or they've
building
got some,
firms,
or some
because the scouts off work and they don't.
Getting away from home.
Their business helps pay for these things.
You're not saying they're claiming the mileage against the business, are you?
And obviously, as a scuba diving podcast, we do have non-divers that listen to the podcast. So you cover any extreme sports. So it could be skiers, skydiving, rock climbing.
And anything and everything we will touch.
Even accountants who don't accountants who play chess would still like the business, so we don't have to. It's not mandatory that they do a sport or a dangerous occupation, but it's just we're happy to do with everybody. Occupations as well, anybody with dangerous occupations. Again, we're really good at helping people in those areas.
And we also have key personal relationships with underwriters to take into consideration, what activity somebody's doing, the level, and we can also argue, the toss for them as well to make sure they're treated fairly, and we see their outcome as fair as well. So it's a lot more personable. If you go and contact a whole of market insurer like Aviva, Legal and General, you speak to someone who, one, doesn't understand your sport, two, is there to take your order. They're not personalising it to you, they're not understanding what you do, and that's the key thing with our business.
Getting the personal service.
Exactly.
And the underwriters we deal with have got extensive knowledge of the diving, climbing and these dangerous pursuits, so they're not they're not just reading off a handbook somewhere. They have a good knowledge, because what we found is that you can ring the same insurance company with the same situation and get two different outcomes, which is not great really. So what we've learned is we've helped educate the insurance companies, and also we deal with the same person, so we get quite consistent outcomes for our clients.
Consistent outcomes,
which is obviously good.
Yeah. Good. So any scuba divers out there, they need to pick up the phone and give you a call.
34445. That's my contact.
Because it is just worth checking. And definitely for anybody that hasn't got any life insurance, then to definitely consider it. Yeah. So
sure.
Is there any reason anybody shouldn't have life insurance? I don't think there's.
No, sometimes if they're a bit young with no responsibilities and no debt, but even single people
with mortgages
and critical illness, if they've got a job, they need to probably protect their income if they're unable to work due to sickness. So most, there's very, very few people, maybe students, I think, other than that, don't have a...
Do mortgage firms still recommend their own life insurance policy? I thought they had stopped that a few years ago.
They always try to.
They try to. There's not a condition. There's no, as in they used to have it as a condition of the mortgage, but it's a recommendation now. And obviously, mortgage advisors do push that, but again, they don't have the in-depth knowledge. We get a lot of people who come to us because they've tried with the mortgage advisor who's struggled and come back with a really excessive premium on the policy, and they've come to us for advice, and we've been able to get it maybe standard terms or not with as much additional cost. We've got a better outcome, but people should really just come to us direct, really, and miss out. Once they've got the mortgage sorted, and they can miss out the middleman, and we can give them the best deal.
Yeah, and another thing that's happened more recently is, don't dismiss if you've had a policy for 10, 15 or 20 years. It doesn't make a difference. Financially, a lot has changed more recently in regards to inheritance tax. So, that's another can of worms for people to open and have a conversation about. Again, our advice is free. We're here to help. And, if you do need to revisit your existing policy, whether that's with a financial advisor or a mortgage broker, we're happy to help. We can facilitate that for them. And bears in mind it's only a quick conversation, but it could be the difference between you receiving a payout and not.
So if people have got a policy they took out years ago, and they want to talk to you, do you start a new fresh policy and they cancel?
So we would have a conversation with them. If their policy's fine and it suits them, we're not going to tell them that they need to cancel it.
But a lot of people, what they don't realise is they've got a perfectly good policy that's been great for them, but they actually probably took it out and maybe took it over 10 or 15 years, and they think they're all right, but actually they don't realise maybe they've only got a few years left on that policy, and at the end of that policy they'll have to reapply and reinsure themselves. If their health changes in the next few years, they may struggle to get a policy. So what we say to people, we get them to reevaluate how long they need the cover for going forward, and say, while you're fit and healthy, let's get a new policy in force that will take you to an older age. And now with inheritance tax planning and the fact that your pension is now part of your estate for inheritance tax, a lot of people now finding that on their death, they're going to have quite a big inheritance tax bill to pay. So they can use the life policies to mitigate some of that liability. So we're talking to people about that and just saying, actually, you may need your life insurance into, a little bit later into life. So that's a real good discussion for having with people.
A lot to think about.
What about people who've got something like a heart problem or something? So they're okay to dive, but they've got a pre-existing complaint or something.
So
the expert here. You got all the time.
I know, exactly.
Divers get old.
We were talking about this. Don't upset your listeners, but we would say that as a rule, the BMI of divers is slightly higher than maybe climbers and.
It is, yeah.
Don't know why that is. There's some medical fact there. But
too many bacon butters.
Before and after that. Yeah. So go on.
Pre-existing. So we have underwriting tools. We've invested a lot of money into platforms that help us ensure that we can check not just between the terms of the insurers, but the medical disclosures too. So again, each client that comes to us is getting the fairest outcome. Yeah. It's personalised to them. Some may require medical information as in a GP report, some may not. And I know we briefly spoke before this podcast in regards to medicals. Me as a customer, do I need to have a medical for insurance? So no, the answer is not always yes, it's more often no, but it very much falls down to factors of how old are you, how much do you need insured for, what's the value of your estate. There's many things that factor into that, but again, we can let you know that.
Yeah. Nice.
And James likes a challenge, so he likes
a challenge.
Every day is different.
You do get divers who, I can think of a few who have been through illnesses, hole in the heart and things like that.
Diabetics,
and found out later in life, and they're still managing to dive, what they're like with life cover, who knows? I don't know, but it's a question we have to ask.
And don't allow these things to stop you asking the question to us. We're happy to try and help you with any health conditions or anything else. So
you like a challenge.
Well, James likes a challenge.
So with scuba diving, obviously you have to have annual MOTs basically, don't you? So they're our favourite type of clients. That's my appetite. I like somebody who knows where they stand with their medical history. It makes my life quick and simple.
Well, on the diving front, you don't have to have an annual one unless you're in the professional side where you're taking students in the water. But for if you're just a recreational dive, you won't. You might have done that health questionnaire years ago.
Yeah.
It's like self-certification, isn't it?
All those questions might be no, but now 10 years on, one of them might be a yes now. And when that comes up for a policy, some review, somebody might be stuck. They're like, hold on, my insurance company's no longer covering me because of my claim or something. So it's good that you guys are about who, they can phone up and get some advice.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
And I was looking on your website, and on your website is a massive list of all the different sports that you cover, from being a pilot, canoeing, horse riding,
paddleboarding.
Divers do other sports as well. So it's really good that you cover all these multitude of other sports.
Of course, our aim is to conquer, the outdoor.
Command and conquer.
Yeah, the outdoor industry really. Obviously indoors sports as well. But anything with risk, without risk, a lot of things are our appetite. But fundamentally, we focus on ensuring that people that take risks are covered for them.
Yeah, and I think, social media, you see so many more people hiking,
of course,
climbing. They're all youngsters, but they're all influencers, and people want to get out there and do it. So it must be a growing market.
Can I make a presumption that maybe people who do hiking and paddleboarding and they just go out on the water on a Sunday with their kids and things, that maybe their policy don't cover them because they've just got a standard off-the-shelf policy?
Yeah, many a time, people don't mention to their insurer that they do these activities because they.
So would that be seen as a risky sport, do you think?
In terms of what sports?
Like paddleboarding,
it can be. Depends kind of what severity you do it. But there's many things out there where people wouldn't think about it. For instance, like climbing. People that like to hike on the weekend and then do a bit of scrambling or do a bit of sports climbing or a bit of trad here and there, or they only winter climb because they find it fun. And there's many factors that fall into that, but fundamentally it all falls down to declaring the right information to the insurer to ensure that you are covered. And, you know, people pay for peace of mind. So a lot of people are paying for things to tick a box. You know, we're not here to do that. We're here to ensure that should you be doing these sports and these activities, you are covered and you do have peace of mind.
Yeah.
You know, we're not box ticking anymore. It's 2025. We're making things happen and we're making sure, you know, we spread the word and everyone's cautious to this, that's all.
Yeah. And I think it is a more cautious world now.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Knowing that you've got that.
Well, you don't want to get
cover.
caught out, do you? Something happened and then you find out, actually, it's in the small print. None of this is covered.
That's the problem. The thing is with life cover, sometimes it can be too late to find out.
Yeah.
It's not you who suffers for that, it's your family.
Yeah.
You know.
And people put it off. Honestly, the amount of people we deal with who know they need to do it, can afford to do it, but they're just putting off making a decision. You know, and to the point where we ring up to ask, and the wife picks the phone up and they say, "Has he not done it yet?" You know, like
I'll do it next week.
Yeah.
Do it next week. A year later, I'm still going to do it next week.
It's like you know, people just it's frustrating at times, but it's something that's important. You know, it's fundamentally, you know, you wouldn't drive your car without having insurance. You know, but why would you risk, you know, your family's future without having the right protection in place for something happens to you? So
and people are under the assumption that these things take forever to arrange and sort, and they really don't.
So what sort of timescale is it?
We've very much streamlined our process now. Just taken a long time to know each individual sport, what they can do it to, how they can do it. But to run through a quote and an application, it could be as little as 10 to 15 minutes to be done and complete and dusted.
And they're sorted.
And they're sorted.
Wow.
So at the end of the call, you're covered.
Yeah, so some people are, 90% of our customers are covered straight off the bat. You know, unless there is things such as the medical underwriting I mentioned before, so that's down to their age and sum assured or medical information. 90% of our stuff is just clean.
What about online? Do you do things online?
No, we do it all personable because it's very easy to misunderstand something online. And, you know, a question be quite
people
vague.
not declare things correctly online.
Yeah, they think,
you know, they may not, you know, by mistake, you know. You know, and you just need anything. You need that conversation to have a better understanding. And to say it's that's where we add value, isn't it? And again, the ones that we don't get on straight away, that might just need a call to the underwriter because we can clarify something with them and try and just try and get the best terms. So even if we don't get them on straight away, it may just need us to have a quick call to discuss somebody's diving in a little bit more detail with the underwriter in order that, because again, if we just put things through on paper to the underwriter without a bit more explanation, they might just give the worst terms. Whereas sometimes if we talk to them first, explain in detail somebody's diving and what they're doing, and explain things in detail, that gives the underwriter a lot more comfort, and they're more than likely to give more favourable terms for that client than if we just put it through. So it works both ways for us, speaking to the client, having that personal touch, and us speaking directly with the insurance companies and having that personal touch as well. And the outcomes are always better for the client doing it that way.
What I like the sound of is that you'll cover somebody from the time that they qualify as a diver with your annual, biannual reviews, is that you'll then cover them all the way through their journey of diving. And if they decide to go down the technical route and get into diving and doing some serious diving, like with this guy here with his twin set on the back, you know that you're going to be covered. And you know, there's divers out there doing some amazing stuff, and
or going into cave diving.
It is a peace of mind to know that something goes wrong, you're covered.
So half of our business now is existing clients. So you know, our business every year is existing clients who coming back to us to things change, improve. You know, people need that ongoing advice, and you know those. You know, and then we've got a very, you know, good reputation, you know, and looking after people.
Yeah, and that says a lot. You've got that personal touch, and people value that.
Yeah.
The firm has operated for 25 years, giving insurance advice. From the very start. Yeah, so
well established.
Yeah, you guys know what you're talking about.
There's history. Say that again, sorry.
You guys know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, it's really interesting. So any scuba divers out there need to
call that number 0345 565 0935.
Yeah, and get in touch with people that know.
Or Google Sports Financial.
Yeah.
Or life insurance for scuba divers. Again, you'll find us on the internet. We should be top up there at the top.
Yeah.
We'll put the links in the show notes so that people can click on those.
So I think we got to a point where it's probably the best to ask these
set questions. So Harvey, first of all, if you could take 3 people diving or on an extreme sport, who would you take and why?
I bet you people struggle with this sometimes. I was thinking Gandhi, because he'd be very calm and relaxing, you know, so you're not going to panic. Ellen McCarthy.
Oh, nice.
Because you hear about her sailing and where she's gone and things she's done, on her own.
I think we've never had her suggested.
No.
You know?
Have you had Gandhi? I don't think.
Oh, Gandhi, actually.
So they're 2 unique answers so far.
So if you listen to her, what's her sailing, what she's done, and the situations she's done, it's just amazing. And the other one it's got to be Oliver Reed, isn't it? Because that's after you've done the diving, the sport. Afterwards, when you've finished it all, you want to have a few drinks and maybe have a bit of a chat. He'd be good company, I'm sure. So,
who was that, sorry?
Oliver Reed.
Oh, Oliver Reed, yeah.
Yeah. So he'd be good company afterwards, I'm sure.
He could tell some stories.
Not well. You won't want him to go diving with him. But you want to, after you've done the diving,
you'd be in awe, wouldn't you?
He'd be good company then.
Yeah.
Well, let's see you now.
So mine's quite different type.
Younger.
I'd probably start with Tyson Fury. So he's a good time person.
Yeah.
He's fun. He's been through a lot in his life. I'm sure he's got some interesting stories to share. I'm also a Manchester City fan. Quite a big blue. So I'd also like to take Pep Guardiola with me, just get into, how he thinks. Like, he thinks outside the box and, ask him questions of how he does things that could maybe improve my life, his outset and how he does and processes things is just like completely different to everybody else when it works. And lastly, I enjoy laughs, so I'll probably take some of that chimney car with me as well.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, he's quite humorous, so I'm sure I'd have a fun time with that lot anyway.
Yeah, I'll have chimney car.
Very good answers.
Yeah, good there. So next question, Harvey, we will, what gets you out of your comfort zone?
Oh, sailing, actually. Sailing is it's having a boat and dealing with all the conditions in the weather. You've got, obviously, it's like that, there's weather conditions, there's tidal conditions, there's things that can go wrong with the equipment or the boat. And I don't particularly like just going on holiday and sitting on a beach, I like to things being very fluid and things moving and things happening. That really probably, and it takes a little bit out of the comfort zone, and that gives me, not knowing what can happen, setting off somewhere and thinking of going somewhere and thinking, have you got everything there? And that kind of excites me a lot, really.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the other one is, the sailing bit's easy, it's to come into the harbour and mooring. that really gets me out of my comfort zone. I think, you can have a perfect sailor, and people think, God, he knows what he's doing, and you come into harbour and the fender's on the wrong point, and the wind gets you and blows you over towards another boat. So
because it still wants to move.
It's still just the nightmare. That's the most stress. That's a bit at the end of it. There's sweating at the end of it. But that's part of the joy. That's part of the joy. So.
For me, similar to Harvey's, not in the sailing sense, but I like a challenge, and for me, it's overcoming objections. Putting myself in difficult situations and overcoming them. So for me, definitely, I like being challenged. I like to be out of my comfort zone, and I get a thrill of overcoming something. So that's really where
Time to be a diver then. Excellent.
Yeah. And then our final question from a sort of company perspective, if we gave you a billboard that the whole world or the whole of the UK could see, what would you put on your billboard and why?
You've got to talk to us, give us you must talk to Sports Financial. Just even if you don't do anything, just have that dialogue. So talk, give us a call. It's free advice. You will only come away from the conversation knowing more and be better informed.
Yeah, don't be naive. And, even if you don't take a policy with us, the only thing that it costs you is time. And it's not much time either. We just want to ensure that people have the best cover. It's appropriate to them, their life and their lifestyle. Even if your policy suits you, we will tell you that and we'll send you away so you do have that peace of mind. So yeah, don't hesitate.
Don't hesitate. Give us a call.
Yeah,
good.
exactly.
Yeah, brilliant.
We like that. So we want to say thank you very much for inviting us to come here today and have this discussion and the podcast with you. For the listeners out there, we hope that you will maybe use this episode as a mind jogger to go, hey,
yes.
I think it's time to pull out the paperwork that I've had in the cupboard or in the box shelf for the last 5 years. And pull out and give you guys a call.
Or even check you have got life insurance. Because a lot of people think they have and they haven't. They had some with a previous employer and they've left and they've lost it and they haven't got it. So, just check you've got some as well.
Yeah.
And just remember as well that insurers do change over time. Their product becomes better, it becomes stronger. 15 years ago, would you have been looking at different conditions that you're more likely to have at that point? Yes. And have they adapted and changed now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you may be happy with the policy that you have, but you may not be covered for the right conditions, especially with the critical illness cover. So again, we run a comparison tool that we'll offer free to all people that listen to the podcast, and we're happy to do an individual report for everyone for free. So, if you want that conversation, get in touch and let us know and we'll look after you.
And would you like to take this opportunity to remind our listener of what number they need to call and what your website is?
Yeah, so our website is sportsfinancial.co.uk and our number is 0345 565 0935.
Excellent.
Brilliant.
Perfect.
Thank
you for being on
very much.
No problem.
Thanks for being on the BiG Scuba podcast.
Thank
It
you.
was great, thank you.
Now that does wrap up today's episode of the BiG Scuba podcast. But if you want to hear more from the podcast, make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button depending on what platform you are listening on. That way you will never miss an episode from us. But if you are listening on Apple Podcasts and did enjoy what you heard today, we would really appreciate it if you head to the show page to leave a 5-star rating and review. It really does help us. If you do, please take a screenshot of that review and send it to us on Instagram, and we'll give you a shout out to say a big thank you. If you have any questions for us or anything that has been mentioned in today's episode, be sure to reach out to us on any of our social media platforms or send us an email. The links are in the show notes. We will get back to you no matter what. If you have made it to this point in the episode, we both want to say a big thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.